One day King Yudhisthira and his 4 brothers were wandering in a forest and were greatly distressed for want of water. Far and wide they searched, but without success, and at last they all sat down, exhausted, beneath the shade of a spreading tree. Then the king turned to Nikula. "Climb up a tree," he said, "and look around, to north, south, east, and west. Then tell us whether you can see any pool of water or any plants which will not grow except by the cooling stream. For if we do not quench our thirst, we shall surely die." Without hesitation, Nikula obeyed the command of his eldest brother, and in a few moments called out in a cheerful voice, "I see some plants which will not grow except by the cooling stream, and I hear the sound of cranes." "Go then," said the king, "and fill your quiver from the water which gives life to those things." Nikula at once set out, and in a few moments found a clear pool filled to the brim and the red-crested cranes stalking solemnly about near its margin. He threw himself down to drink of the water, but as he did so he heard a solemn voice which said, "Drink not, O Prince, before you have answered my question." But Nikula was too much exhausted with thirst to pay any attention to the warning voice, and drank eagerly of the cool, refreshing water, and in a few moments he lay dead among the tall reeds by the margin of the stream. For a while the 4 brothers waited in patience for the return of Nikula. Then the king said, "Our brother lingers. Go, Sahadeva, and bring him back with you, and bring your quiver also full of the precious water." Staggering with weakness, Sahadeva made his way through the forest, and in a few moments he saw Nikula lying dead among the reeds. But so great was his thirst that upon seeing the water he could not wait a moment, and flung himself down by the brink of the pool. Again the grave, remorseless voice was heard breaking the silence of the forest. "Drink not, O Prince, before you have answered my question." But before the words were spoken, the prince had drunk of the water, and in a few moments he too lay lifeless among the reeds. Once again the great king waited with what patience he could command, and once again he spoke, this time to his brother Arjun, the mighty bowman. "Go, Arjun," he said, "and bring back your brothers, and bring your quiver also full of the life-giving water." Arjun lifted up his bow and arrows, and with his sword in his right hand made for the pool. When he saw his brothers lying dead among the reeds, he stood for a moment as if in a trance. Then, like the warrior that he was, he fitted an arrow to his bow, while his keen eyes pierced the darkness of the forest in search of the enemy. But when he saw no sign of man or beast, he too stooped to drink, and stooping, heard the grave, unpitying voice, which said, "Drink not, O Prince, before you have answered my question." Prince Arjun raised his head and spoke in anger. "Come out," he cried, "and fight with me." Then he sent arrow after arrow in all directions in the hope of slaying the unseen foe, but a laugh mocked him, and the remorseless voice repeated the command which the prince disregarded. He stooped and drank and died. For a while the great king waited, and then, turning to the last of his band of brothers, he said, "Bima, our brethren do not return. Seek them out, bring them back, and bring your quiver also full of the refreshing water." In silence, Bima obeyed the command, and found his brothers dead among the reeds. "Some Rakshasa has brought them to their death," he said, but his thirst was so sore that he could not resist throwing himself down by the side of the pool, and heedless of the grave voice, he also bent his head and drank and died. Last of all came the king himself, with his dark brow knitted in perplexity. He saw the welcome pool, shining like a silver mirror in the sunlight, with its ring of golden cups of the lotus, its margin set with lilies, reeds, and sweet rose laurel. Then he saw his 4 brothers lying lifeless by the margin, and in spite of his thirst and weakness, he named each in turn, and spoke of the great deeds which had lifted him above the crowd, bitterly lamenting their death in such a manner unfitted for warriors of their strength and skill. "It is the work of some evil spirit," he said at last, "for their bodies bear no mark of violence, nor is the ground around them marked with human footprints. The water, too, is clear and fresh. No poison stain can be seen upon their faces, and my great thirst consumes me. I will stoop to drink." Now as he did so, the spirit took the shape of a grey, red-crested crane, and spoke to him. "I sent your brothers to their death," he said, "and unless you can answer my questions, you too, great king, shall follow where they have gone." "Who art thou?" asked Euthyphro boldly. "Make thyself known, and what is required of us." "I am no bird," was the reply, "but a Rakshasa." And even as he spoke, the dreadful being took shape, towering above the lofty palm trees, shining in splendor brighter than the sun, glowing a ruddy color like the evening cloud, and moving to and fro so as to dazzle the eyes of the beholder. "Question me," said the wise king, "for so it seems stands the law, and I will use what wisdom has been granted to me in making answer." The spirit questions, "What is it which helps a man to keep the soul free from the body, pure and holy, wise and lofty, rising above the thought of evil as the crane o'ertops the reeds?" The king replies, "It is worship, so the holy book informs us, and in the end the purified soul is freed from the body which encumbers it." The spirit questions, "How can a man come to the knowledge of God?" The king replies, "By constant study of the holy books." The spirit questions, "How can a man enjoy peace, do well the work entrusted to him, avoid sin, and keep his spirit meek?" The king replies, "By reading the holy books, and by meditating upon their meaning, by avoiding slander and cruelty which sears the soul." The spirit questions, "Who is it that, having all the appearance of life, does not live at all?" The king replies, "The man who is blessed with goods and keeps all for himself, caring not for gods or guests or kindred or friends." The spirit questions, "What is that which is heavier than the world? What mounts higher than the clouds? What flies quicker than the winds? What grows quicker than grass?" The king replies, "The love of a mother is more weighty than the earth. A father's fondness reaches higher than the heavens. Thought can outstrip the winds, and sorrow grows quicker than grass." The spirit questions, "Who sleeps with open eyes? What is born alive but does not move? What moves without having life within it? What grows as it goes?" The king replies, "A fish sleeps with open eye. An egg is born alive but remains at rest. Stones roll but have no life. Rivers increase as they move to the sea." The spirit questions, "What is the best help to goodness? How can a man win fame? What is the best path to heaven? How shall a man win happiness?" The king replies, "Strength of will attains to goodness. Fame can be won with gifts of self. Truth is the best path to heaven. A gracious spirit comes to happiness." The spirit questions, "What are the second souls of men? Who are the best friends? What is the greatest of all joys? How may poor men win wealth?" The king replies, "A man's sons are his second souls. His wife is his best friend. Health is the greatest of joys. A contented spirit is wealth untold." The spirit questions, "What is the chief of virtues? What is the most fruitful? What best can ease deep grief?" The king replies, "Charity is the best of virtues, reverence is the most fruitful, conquest of self gives rest." The spirit questions, "What enemy is hardest to conquer? What disease lasts as long as life? Who is the most upright man? Who is the most wicked?" The king replies, "Anger is man's worst foe. The pain of greed never forsakes the heart which holds it. He who loves best is holiest. A cruel man is most wicked of all." The spirit questions, "Is a man holy by birthright? Does he make himself holy by reading of the sacred books, or by living a true life?" The king replies, "No man wins holiness except by his conduct. If a man of an evil nature knew the holy books right through, he would still be evil." "Most pious and learned prince," said the Rakshasa, "you have replied to my questions with wisdom and truthfulness, but yet tell me who lives although he is dead, and who is greatest and richest of all men? Though a man's body die, his virtue and goodness may survive. He is greatest and richest who has nothing, needs nothing, and so possesses all." "Drink of this fair water, O king," said the spirit, "and choose which of your 4 brothers shall join you again in the joy of life." "Let Nikula live," said the king, "my beloved with the eyes of fire and the form of gracefulness." "Why not Bima or Arjun?" asked the spirit. "I am named the Just," said the king, "and the just I will remain. Nikula is my half-brother, while the others are as my own soul. Shall my own mother see her sons returning in joy, while the mother of Nikula weeps her loss? Let Nikula live." Then the voice spoke sweetly as the form receded. "Noblest of princes and wisest of men, for thy love and justice, all thy brothers here return to thee."